What's up everybody? My name's Yayon. Welcome to Ahnestly. There were a few standout chairs at CES 2025, and the first one is the Yayon proact GM1 chair. Now, I have no idea who Yayon is, but thanks to a new friend that I met at CES, he recommended that I check out their chair, and I'm really glad I did because this was probably my favorite chair, the standout chair of CES for me. Now, this chair has not been released yet, and I think the price point is gonna be around $300, and I was really shocked at what they offered for that price point. I love what they said. They said, we are tired of the racing style gaming chair, and I said yes and amen. And so when I sat on this chair, it looks a little bit flashy, but man, the backrest was so flexible. It was really well done. I mean, I was shocked at how flexible, how bendable, how adaptable it was to me, especially for a chair at this price point. The mesh bottom was pretty good as well, and I'm super excited to have it here in the studio, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. Next up is a home theater pod from a company called XEO, and this thing was so freaking cool. So you walk inside of it, and there's just these LEDs everywhere. There's a single seat, and this thing is more like a lounge seat than an office seat, but what's really cool is that there is this knob, and you can swipe to get to different settings, and when you get to the seat setting, and it'll basically, if you flick it all the way, it'll get into the maximum recline position. If you flick it the other way, it'll get maximum upright position, and you can do slight turns to just make micro movements. Just really awesome. But what's the biggest draw about this thing is that inside of this are integrated 20 speakers from Dynaudio, and when you turn it up and you're playing a console game, man, this thing sounds freaking ridiculous. I mean, my heart was rumbling. It was so cool, and they told me that the applications or where this thing is being sought after is really unique. This pod, basically all the sound is isolated inside. So if you're outside, you can't actually hear anything. So it allows people in hospitals, sick children who like to game, they're actually being solicited for those places. And they also said it's being solicited in conservative cultures where you're not allowed to show PDA in public. He told me that they're gonna release a family version where there's multiple seats. They can sit in this pod, and because it's enclosed, nobody can see them, and they can enjoy that together time without being seen by the public. Super interesting use cases. I did not know this existed, but these things are not for the light of heart, because when he told me the price tag, my jaw hit the ground. He told me that the single pod starting price is $10,000, and it can go all the way up to $15,000 for the most premium version. There is no pricing set on the family style pod yet, but I assure you that is also going to be just as expensive. XEO, if you want to send one over though, man, I'll take it. You know, I'll take 3. That was a really weird laugh. I accidentally had drinks and dinner with this crazy successful serial entrepreneur. If you want to hear crazy stories about CES, let me know down in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Next up is the T0 Max chair from a company called TGIF. Now, I believe TGIF is a new player on the scene, and again, they are tired of the racing style gaming chair aesthetic. They've offered to send their chair a couple times here, but I've always kind of been hesitant because it looks like it's straight out of Gundam. It looks a little bit too gimmicky, but they were at CES, so I decided to check them out, and I'm glad I did. Two big standout features about this chair are going to be the dynamic lumbar support. A lot of chairs are moving to this dynamic lumbar, where it's basically this pad that's separated from the backrest that'll kind of move and jiggle with you as you move around. I believe the T0 Max does a much better job here because the cushioning is so soft, it feels so supportive. A lot of these chairs are using more mesh and kind of hard edges, so it can kind of dig into weird places. Did not get that at all with the T0 Max chair. Also, the second standout feature is going to be the recline. The recline feels much like the recline in the Steelcase Elite V2, where when you recline in the chair, the seat bottom actually kind of moves out a little bit, helping you to really kind of feel fully back inside of the chair. There's one thing that I didn't love about the chair, and it's the fact that I believe it's a auto tilt, which basically means it's weight activated. So depending on how much weight you put on it is how much it's going to tilt back. I don't love this. I love the kind of standard handlebar where you can tighten or loosen the back tilt, because that makes it less a headache to how much pressure you're putting on the back. So I much prefer that design, but those other two, the lumbar and the tilt, actually felt really solid. Now, TGIF is actually partnering with Creative Labs to integrate a full surround sound into the chair itself. Now, it wasn't working when I went. They did fix it and they offered to bring me back, but I said, I don't have time right now, so I wasn't able to check it out. But I'm excited because I had a massage chair that I checked out that had speakers integrated into the chair, and they actually sounded pretty good, although a bit tinny. The TGIF T0 Max, though, working with Creative Labs, they're planning on basically putting 2 speakers, left and right channels, over here in the wing part, hence the Gundam look. And then they're also going to have a center channel, which sits at your desk, and then they're going to have a subwoofer as well. And what's really cool is that the center channel is supposed to basically, they're building in an algorithm which is going to basically detect the distance between the center channel and the left and right speakers so that those speakers are in phase with each other. So I'm looking forward to it when it's completed. I told them to please send it here when it's done. Also, because it's more of a prototype right now, it's cabled and wired up. However, the final version should be wireless, and they said with a single charge, you should be able to get an entire week's worth of audio. So stay tuned for that one. Over at the Razer booth, they are messing with the weather. Kind of, not really. On their Fujin chairs, they've got this outline on the chair, and it's got an integrated LED, and it can either be red, purple, or blue. Basically, red means hot, and what it's doing is that there is a fan blowing out hot air, and it is significant. You can feel a major difference when sitting in that chair and hot air is blowing at you. The room was a little bit chilly, and I felt warmed up instantly.
Yeah, I do feel it. Like the neck area, it's like definitely is like the most prominent area.
And then if you cool it down, the LED strip is going to turn purple, letting you know, hey, we're getting to the other side of the temperature. And finally, when the LED strip turns blue, it means that it is now cold air. And again, that air felt significant. You really felt cold inside of the chair. Really cool innovations coming from Razer. I know that I wasn't a huge lover of the Fujin chairs, but first impressions are really, really important. And I realized that the air pushing was so significant, so impressive, that I found all of my shortcomings that I thought about the chair kind of completely disappeared because I was so impressed by the heated and cooling options on the Fujin. So love to know what you guys think about that in the comments. These next couple chairs are racing style gaming chairs, and while I don't love the racing style design, I think it's kind of outdated at this point, I do love where the industry is headed with their racing style gaming chairs, including softer cushions, less freaking bolsters. Finally, they're listening to me, at least I think they are. Maybe they're listening to you guys complain, but yeah, less bolsters, softer cushions. Let's go. We'll start with the Razer Iskur V2X. This is going to be their every person chair. It's a much more budget-friendly chair. It comes in at under $300, and in my brief time testing it, I think it's the best racing style gaming chair under 300 bucks. The main reasons are because when I talked to Razer, they said a lot of people have been saying it, and I was like, that's me. I've been saying it. They're finally getting rid of the big-ass bolsters. They're finally getting rid of the rock-hard cushions. They made the cushion really soft, really plushy. It feels great. They made the bolsters pretty much flat on this chair, and when you tuck inside of them, they feel great on the ankles, so you're able to fully spread eagle if you want inside of the chair as well. Now, what makes it budget, though, is that when I sat back on it, it does have a lumbar bump, and it feels good. The problem is that it had a weirder bump, maybe sitting in the mid-back area, and I tried to figure out how to adjust it, and they said because this is our more budget-friendly line, there is no adjustable lumbar support at all. So I think that is the one big con about the V2X. Otherwise, I really like the chair. I really like where these chairs are going. Cushion felt great. Again, I think it's going to be the best racing style gaming chair under 300, and I'm going to ask Razer to send that in for further review. A newer company that's moving fast on the scene is a company called Blacklyte. They had a huge booth there, and they had a bunch of chairs displayed, but there were two chairs that were a big standout for me. The first one is going to be their Kraken Pro. The first thing you'll notice on the Kraken Pro is the weird lumbar design. This is what all the high-end racing style gaming chairs are going after in 2024, 2025. They're trying to use this separated section that's supposed to be able to scoop out, give you additional lumbar support, as opposed to the knobs that move the lumbar support up and down, which I am not a big fan of. Now, this one particular on the Kraken Pro is the best one that I've used, and it's because a lot of other companies like Razer as well as Ahnest, they use the same cushion that's used in the rest of the seat in this pad, and it's not very soft, it's not very cushy. Blacklytes, on the other hand, you can tell that they're using a knitted fabric here, which feels soft, which feels comfortable, but also the cushion inside of it was significantly softer as well. So it felt really nice on that lower back. It felt like I was being, again, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I'd much prefer a cushier feeling lumbar support than one that's like rough and tough. I like it aggressive, but I don't necessarily need that to feel like plastic. I guess that's my biggest way of explaining it. So I like that it was softer, I like that it was supportive, but it had the same drawback of every other lumbar support that looks like that on these racing style gaming chairs, which is that you cannot take advantage of the arguably the best option on these racing style gaming chairs, which is the full tilt back. When you fully tilt back in the chair with these kinds of pop out lumbar supports on these chairs, that thing creates a weird lumbar bump so that even if it's at the lowest and flattest setting, it doesn't feel great in that back gap curve design, and it makes you feel really awkward when you lean all the way back. The Blacklytes was no different. It did not feel great. Even though it was softer, it didn't feel great when I tilted all the way back. Also, one difference between the Blacklyte's lumbar pad compared to the Ahnest and the Razers of the world is that unlike the others, which will scoop out the lower back like this, providing you like that lumbar support kind of sit like this way, Blacklyte's actually pops out instead, and you can control how far it pops out. Whether that's good or bad, I'm not really sure. Because it was soft, I didn't really feel a difference. It actually felt like it molded better to that back curve though. And finally, we have the Blacklyte Athena Pro. This chair looks like every other racing style gaming chair on the market, with two differences. First is that the headrest magnet is scary strong. Like I put it on and the thing looked like it could take off my finger. That's how hard it hit, that's how hard it connected. So really great, because a lot of chairs, when you start tilting the chair up or it snaps when you bring it to its, furthest up setting, the headrest can just kind of flop off. This one, again, scary strong magnet, that's not gonna happen. And the second big difference is that it's got the in-chair lumbar supports, a knob on the left and right side of the chair. But unlike every other chair that I've tested, these things go from one end to the other very quickly. I would say maybe in about 7 turns. So you could spin it, and in about 7 turns, you get from one extreme to the other. You don't need, you don't need this lumbar support that goes from like your upper back all the way down to your lower back. You just need like a small range, and I think Blacklyte did it well. And when it comes to the other bar, which is supposed to bring the lumbar pad out or in, again, a lot of these other chairs have it so that the maximum just feels like super awkward, like you're like this. Blacklyte, I think, made a much more reasonable compromise. They made it come out a little bit where you can feel it and then come back in, again, about 7 turns, and you got from one end all the way to the other. If you want to see those chair reviews, get subscribed. Until next time, stay honest.